Hello there, and welcome to episode 9 from Deep. I'm your host, Luke Jansen, and I also have my boy Phil with me. Phil, say hello.
Sweat. Hustle and show, Luke. Hustle and show.
Hustle
we did some
and
Top
show.
Shot before. We're hyped. We're ready to go. It's going to be a good show for you guys.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about playoffs, obviously, with them being around the corner, and our last play-in tournament, or last play-in game being played right now to see who's going to be the 8th seed on the West, and we're just excited to jump right into it. Now, if you're wondering what Phil was singing, we've been joining this new thing. It's called Top Shots, and it's an NBA collector's, I guess you could say a video collector card. So it's not digital, it's not physical. It's actually a digital piece of sports that you can own, I guess. Phil, maybe you'd be better off to explain it since you've been in it a little bit longer than me.
Yeah, so it's Generation Z version of collectible cards. So you collect moments, is what they call them. And essentially highlights of the past season is what they're doing so far. It's in the beta stage, so they'll roll out and do old plays and everything else. So right now we're doing different moments from the past season. And we just got a nice little card drops that we've done over the past couple of days. Hustle and show is what the last ones were. So a lot of hustle plays, steals, dunks, rebounds. Nice highlights.
Yes, I got Jimmy Butler a layup, and I had 3 cards today, so that was one of my top ones. It was pretty sick. But Phil, we're here for the real stuff from deep. That's what give the people what they want. You know, they're like, all right, I could care less about your lives or what you do. Get me to from deep, and that's what our whole fan base is yelling at us. So without further ado, let's get right into it. From deep, Phil Wiseman, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, paper.
Paper. Oh.
1, 2, 3, paper.
Paper.
1, 2, 3, scissors.
Paper. I didn't see how long it would take.
3-1. It's no mercy out here. So what is this, series of 7? All right, so my question.
I'm behind.
Yeah, that's all right. You'll catch up, I have no doubt. My luck will run out. My question to you, Phil, is more of a what would you do in this situation type question. And I literally thought of it about 2 minutes ago. I had another question, but this one, I was just thinking about it. And I was like, ooh, I like that. Okay, so you are the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers current team. You're going in at halftime. You're currently playing the Golden State Warriors. This is, as you could tell, probably the play-in tournament a couple of nights ago. Your team is down. I don't know what they were down by. They were down by, what, like 8, 9 going into the half?
They were down. Yeah, I think they were down about double digits. Yeah.
Yeah. LeBron, AD, they're fighting. They're yelling at each other like, Big Bird, you're garbage. And then Big Bird saying, LeBron, you got no hair, man. You can't be yelling at me. You, as the coach, must inspire the words into your players, the Los Angeles Lakers, specifically LeBron James and Anthony Davis, to overcome their fighting tactics and win the game against Golden State Warriors. What are your inspiring words to the Los Angeles Lakers to get out there and play ball?
LeBron, looks like it's going to be another dub for Steph Curry tonight, eh? Looks like he's going to take you over the mantle. I mean, 3rd place is good enough, right? Like MJ, Steph, then you. I mean, that's okay if that's what you want to do tonight, but that's your call. That's your call.
It's lighting a fire, folks. LeBron's like, all right, so I'm going to hit a big game-winning 3, and then you're getting fired.
And then he's punching me in the face.
I like that.
I think it would fire him up because LeBron's all about his legacy, right?
Yes, that's true. And my goodness, did he ever, if they go deep into the playoffs and win this year, what a great way to start it with that 3-point shot. My goodness. Wow. Everyone could say he's a fake actor or whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. That was still a big 3. Whatever your play is, like, that was big. Yeah.
What's your inspiring words? Yeah.
No, we torture down. LeBron, you suck. AD, you suck. Alex, this is your time, baby. Andre Drummond, we brought you here because you're the real MVP. The world might not know it, but you are, and I believe in you. Go out and get him, kid.
Hey, Marc Gasol, you haven't played a minute, Mark? You're taking the shot at the end of the game. You're going for it.
Then Andre Drummond goes out and we lose by 80, but he's hyped. So That would be
Mhm.
my inspiring words. I'd set LeBron and AD for the rest of the game, and Andre Drummond would get every touch.
Oh boy.
We didn't start the flame wars.
You sound like Brett Brown.
Burn to the ground.
Oh,
Start afresh. I'd be like somehow, some way. I'd be like, this is for Mello. This is for Mello.
oh man.
One love, baby.
One love for Mello. I like it. I like it. You ready for mine?
Yep. What you got?
So mine has to do with Top Shot because we were just doing it.
Yep.
We were getting some cards. We were opening some packs. We got some really cool moments this week. But my question is, if you could have one moment as a collectible for the entire season, what would it be? And who's in the pack? Who's the play?
From this current
This whole past season. Is it LeBron's dagger from last night? Like, I mean, that's probably got to be close to play of the year right now.
Yeah, that is one for sure that would be silly to pass up on. You could sell that for an easy like 100,000. Easy.
Bitcoin, 100,000 Bitcoin. Yeah.
Honestly, I think, and as much as the Raptors got torched, it was that dunk against early on in the season. In our center try to jump in on it.
Anthony Edwards dunk on
Yes.
Watanabe. I have that play as one of my short lists.
Yeah. That was just, as much as I love the Raptors and I don't want to see them get torched on, that was a big dunk, man.
Mm-hmm.
And good on Watanabe, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Watanabe. Watanabe.
For trying to get in there and block it. Like I always encourage that. I don't care if you get dunked on, but man, to just, that was a big dunk, man. That was a huge one. Probably my favorite one of the year so far, actually.
Yeah,
although I haven't seen the dunk highlights for the year. They generally have like stuff that come out like dunk of the year. I haven't seen all the ones that could be put into it, but that would definitely be something I'd want from that season. Whew,
yeah,
it's a big dunk.
I also have like any play from LaMelo Ball. I was not high on LaMelo Ball going into this season,
not.
but he has proved me wrong. Like, he's such a fun guy to watch. The way he passes the ball, the alley-oop plays between him and Miles Bridges. Oh, it's so nice.
I own a piece up there now. I was whittling away right at the start of the season.
I was
getting you down. I just think it's fun to see a point guard who's got that flashy passing again, and like it just brings a little bit of fun to the game. And when you're doing it against the best of the best, it's even that much better because like when you break someone's ankles or pass it through their legs, like you're doing it against arguably the best basketball players to ever play currently at that point, and it just makes it that much sweeter, man. My goodness,
the passing and the creativity from the guy is incredible. The other one I have is Russell Westbrook getting the triple-double, passing Oscar Robertson. I thought that would be kind of a cool play to kind of own because that's a piece of NBA history. That's those are the moments I got too. So yeah,
awesome. All right, next part, our last part of the From Deep section. This is our question. It's going to relate to what we currently have right on now, actually, which I should check the score. What is the
I'm on the game right here. Let me tell you, they were in half, and the Grizzlies were up.
Ooh, yeah, halftime, 62-49 for the Memphis Grizzlies to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay, so the reason we're saying that is, should the NBA keep the play-in tournament? We've seen now 3 of the 4 games. We're at the halftime of the 4th. Or I guess I should say this would be the 6th, wouldn't it? Because 1, 2, 4, 5. Yes, this is the 6th game that's on right now. 6th and last game to place the seeding for the 8th on the West. And yeah, Phil, what's your thoughts on the play-in so far? Is it here to stay?
That Lakers Golden State game, I watched that game. That was a lot of fun. I would honestly love to see the ratings and the stats behind that. I feel like there were a lot of people watching that game, and for it to have the success that it does after that game, no matter how much of a dud the Pacers games were, Pacers absolutely beating the Hornets, Pacers getting absolutely thrashed by the Wizards, I think it's here to stay because of that LeBron moment over Stephen Curry. LeBron blinded, shooting for the middle. Steph Curry, the mean mug, the sadness in his eyes as that shot went in. He knows that he can hit that shot. Just because of that moment, I think it's here to stay.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a wonderful shot, and obviously, if the Warriors don't make it out tonight, it's an even bigger shot, right? Because they should have been in the playoffs. So that will definitely staple it in. I know that if Golden State doesn't win tonight, they're going to be pretty upset. But you know what the reality is? If you can't take out the 8th or the 10th or 9th seed, then do you really deserve the 8th seed? And that I would say is arguably decided by this game. So I think you need to be, if you can't beat the ninth or 10th seed in one game, you're not going to beat the first seed in a series of 7
At home too. They're in the Bay.
Yeah,
So
that's what I personally believe. Like, I that's why I like it. Sure, you could complain about like, oh well, we didn't make the playoffs, but you got to do business, and if you can't clean up 9-10, then you definitely weren't going to clean up number 1.
yeah, it would be a real tough matchup either for the Grizz or for the Warriors. Whoever gets in to play the Jazz, that'll be a real tough game. So
Yeah. So it's just a kind of a little bit of excitement for lower seeds to watch and see.
Mhm.
And also, I was actually talking with my dad about this earlier. I explained the plan, and he thought it was interesting because you basically have
nice, Randy, love it.
Yeah. We were chatting a little bit about it, and it's just interesting because like if you're injured, you have like your star who's injured for the first half, and you start off slow, and then you catch it up in the second, get into the 10th seed. Maybe you should have been a 5th or 6th seed team, but you just had a super slow start, or you had a big trade that came in at half that changed up your whole team, and now you're in a 10th seed, and when you should have been a 5th, but you just didn't have enough games with your team as good as it was. So I like it. I think it's here to stay, and geez, it's bringing some pretty fun basketball. I kind of wish the whole playoffs were one game and done. I mean, I would probably hate it, but it's fun, man. There's a reason the NCAA has such a high viewer rating. There's March Madness has a super high viewer rating, and there's a reason for it because you got one game, and it's all done if you mess up.
That's right. That's right. That's why football playoffs are really big too. One game, all on the line. It's cool. It's cool. It's here to stay. Let's hear what you guys think. Is it here to stay? What's your thoughts? Let us know.
We'd love to know. So now we are going to jump into NBA, and this week it's a little different because it says NBA playoffs. Let's hear that wham jam. Bang! Big dunk. There's going to be a ton of them this playoffs. We are here to talk about playoffs, of course, because they are right around the corner, starting up in 2 days, Phil, I think, right after this game?
Tomorrow. They start tomorrow.
Are tomorrow. Okay, they are rocking and rolling tomorrow. Phil's going to kind of take us away with this segment. We're going to talk about the matchups, what our thoughts are them. But Phil, take us away.
Yeah, so let's go east to west. So we'll start in the east because that is all set and done. So hopefully by the time we get to the west, we got a little bit better of an outlook and see who the Grizz or the Warriors make it through. So let's go chronologically because I'm a bit of a math nerd anyways. You know that, Luke. You make fun of me for my HSX days. Inside joke for those from the old Boundary and South Grenville days. That being said, we have the 76ers from Philadelphia taking on the Washington Wizards. What do you think is going to happen in this series, Luke? And who do you think is going to win in 7 games? What's the score going to be?
Washington Wizards sweep.
Mm.
No, I'm just kidding. You know what? One extra player on the Washington Wizards, like maybe another All-Star, and that's like a conversation that could, not a sweep, but a conversation that could be in contention to actually beat the 76ers. I do think the Wizards with a Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, those guys are really good. Russell Westbrook will at least will this team to at least 2 wins, personally. So I think what we're going to see is a series of 6. 76ers take it at game 6.
Okay, 6 games, eh? Yeah, well, the Wizards, I've got the stats here. They were 17-32. So they were 17-32 at one point. 17-32, Ooh. And they finished 34-38. So they went, what's that, 17-6 to end the regular season. So they're coming in really hot.
Yeah, then they got a decent team, man. Like they're just not very deep, right? Like you literally are talking about Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, and then a good surrounding cast. But that's it. There's not like this other third. There's not even a third guy on that team that I'd be like, yeah, that guy's going to be consistent. I know there's is it Hachimura? He's been really consistent.
Hachimura.
Yeah, Hachimura, he's been super consistent. You got Bertans, who's he's a decent player. Robin Lopez, Alex Len, Neto, Daniel Gafford. Like there's some good guys there. There's just not a lot of playoff experience and just not a lot of people to go to. So if the 76ers shut down Russell and Bradley, which they have a lot of bodies to throw at them,
some really good defensive bodies too, like Tybal and Simmons. Like those are top tier defensive echelon guys.
Green still. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't say he's top tier anymore, but he's definitely still a very capable defender.
Yeah, I've got Sixers in 5. Sixers in
Yeah, I
five.
was just about to change my thing. I said probably in 5. You might see the Wizards. You can't throw Russell out. He very well could will them to that second win. But
I think they get one game because I think the only way they win this series is like both Westbrook and
and
Beal
Bradley,
are going
yeah,
off. And I can't imagine that happening more than 2 or 3 times. Like Simmons is huge. He's 6'10".
yeah,
Tybal is not small either. And I think the length and the flexibility, I mean, second best defense in the league this year. They're going to be locked in. They're going to be focused. I think Sixers in 5.
yep. That's a fair assessment. All right, on to the next
Yeah.
one, Phil.
Nets and Celtics, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, 8 games in the regular season together. They're taking on Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. No Jaylen Brown in this series, so that could make it a little bit short. I have the Nets sweeping this one in 4 games. Do you have similar, or do you think the Celtics will put up a bit more of a fight?
Yeah, obviously. What was the injury for Jalen? I knew he was out, but what was going on specifically? Do you
I
know?
think he tore something in his hand. I'll look
Okay.
it up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate losing Jalen. Evan Fournier steps in. He's had a ton of experience starting though. With Orlando, he's very capable shooting guard to step into Jalen's place. I don't think he's a Jalen Brown by any means, but he's definitely a very capable player to be coming off your bench and filling that role. Again, they just don't have the depth. The Celtics really struggled late to the end of the season, like really bad with injuries and just chemistry. They just weren't really getting it together. So my assumption is, yeah, we're probably going to see a sweep from the Nets.
So the Nets were the number one offense in the league without these guys all playing together. Eight
Yeah,
games they played together and they were the number one offense.
yeah,
I think the Celtics are going to be real tough. That's why I think it's going to be a sweep. I think the Nets are going to get some time to spend together and get better because they've only played 8 games. So oof.
yeah. This is. I don't think the Celtics are going to steal one out. I just don't see it happening, which is too bad. I think if Jalen was there, they'd probably get a couple. But
Wrist injury, season-ending wrist injury as well.
it's
So
too bad.
yeah, yeah, it is too bad, but it is what it is. C'est la vie. Probably the most interesting series coming up here, though. Bucks and Heat. So Heat obviously made it to the finals last year. Bucks
Mm-hmm.
have previous MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Heat beat the Bucks last year in the playoffs in 5 games. I think it's going to be the other way around this series. I think Bucks in 6 is what I've got. They've got Drew Holiday, they've got PJ Tucker, they've got a lot more weapons for Giannis, and they're playing a little bit more pick and roll. So I think their offense is not going to be as stagnating. So I have Bucks in 6.
Drew Holiday was a great pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Just runs the floor a little bit different. It was Eric Bledsoe, right? Was there?
That's right. And
Yeah,
he can shoot. He can defend a lot better
yeah.
too. He's an upgrade in that position.
He's definitely an upgrade, and that's where you need in the playoffs. You need a point guard who's very good. Giannis is fantastic, but without having a point guard who can at least distribute and do well, it's really tough. Like you even see it with Schroeder being added to the Lakers, which was great pickup. But last year, right, Rondo in the playoffs. Without Rondo, the Lakers don't do very well because again, you have this guy with high IQ. Yeah, he's not making every play, but he is in a way. You know what I mean? He's orchestrating. It's like he's playing chess. Like sure, he didn't score, or maybe get an assist, but he set that up, the play to happen, or he's making the right defensive play. You're gonna get that from Drew Holiday, who's gonna play really hard. And again, I think the Heat are a decent team, but we kind of saw what they did last year. There was a lot of unknowns with the Heat last year. It almost felt like they're like with Duncan and Tyler, they were kind of like you had a year of seeing what they could do, and it was like kind of new. The Heat almost kind of came out of nowhere, and people didn't really know how to like really see what was coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they were definitely, I think they were in the perfect environment for that team because they're really Heat culture. They're all about working out, like getting together, building that chemistry, grind out games. I think they will be a very tough matchup for the Bucks, but I still think the Bucks will win in 6.
Yeah, I would put the Bucks. I'd put the Bucks at you know what I would even say. Well,
Seven?
Victor's playing, right?
Victor Oladipo?
Oladipo, he's in, right?
No, he's out. He's out.
He is out. Okay.
Yeah, he's out. He's not playing.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, then I would say Bucks. I'd even say probably Bucks in 5.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you
Bucks
have
in
an
5.
Andre Iguodala who is kind of their guy off the bench to be
Yep.
defense, who's another year older and not getting any faster.
Hmm.
Like your starting five is who they got. Is Dragic at the point?
Yeah, they probably go Dragic, Hero, Butler, Bam, Trevor Ariza. That's probably my guess. That's
And
probably their
again,
starting
Trevor
five.
Ariza is not getting any younger.
No,
And yeah, I just think there's no
but a very
depth.
big team, a very big team, and switchable, very switchable, fast defensive team. But the Bucks, they've got too many weapons like Middleton, Holiday, Giannis, Lopez, Tucker. List goes on and on and on, right? So,
Yeah, I don't think the Heat have. I think the aging of all the players by another year has not been great, and Jimmy Butler's awesome, but unless like Tyler steps up huge, it would have been again. I think this is a different story if Victor's in. Same with the Celtics. You know, if the full cast is there, I think it goes game. I say it goes game 7, and I don't know who takes it if you throw Victor in there, a healthy Victor Oladipo. But without him, yeah, I'm just gonna say 5.
fair.
Bucks
Last
5.
one of the
Yep.
East.
This one I'm excited
Knicks
about.
Hawks.
Knicks
Knicks
Hawks, man.
Hawks.
This is nobody saw them in the playoffs this year. Maybe a couple of people obviously, but I know I didn't, and a lot of other people didn't either. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what's well, I'll just give you. I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I think this is a game, a series to 6 or 7. They match up really well at all positions. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of scorers and guys that can do a little bit of everything. So I don't have a for sure winner on this. I think this is a series 7, and then toss up for who wins it. I don't have one.
Yeah, well, Knicks were top 4 defense, and then the Hawks are top 9 defense really coming on, or top 9 offense really coming on at the end of the season. I think it really depends on the best players. Who's the best player in this series? If Julius Randle can be the best player in this series, I think the Knicks will win.
Mm-hmm.
If Trae Young can be the best player in this series, I think the Hawks will win. I think it's that simple. Hawks have a lot of firepower though too, so they've got a lot of outside shooting. But the Knicks have a really good defense, and I think a Tom Thibodeau led defense is going to be really in tough. I have the Hawks in 6, but I'm not confident with that. I feel like you're right. Flip a coin, do a rock paper scissors. Someone's going to win this, and I don't know who it's going to be.
I will say my favorite matchup for this will be the 6 mans off each team, Lou Williams and Derrick Rose going at each other. I do think that'll be fun to watch. I do think as an X factor, Derrick Rose will be a big one. He's played extremely well all season since he went to the Knicks. I think he's got a lot left in the tank, and I feel like he's got a lot that he wants to prove. So you could see a Derrick Rose take over a game and really just step up and have a big game. But at the same time, we've seen Lou Williams do it for the Raptors and do it for the Clippers, have big games too. So it's going to be interesting. Danilo, I know a lot of people don't really talk about him, but the guy's actually really good.
Yeah,
Like
on the Hawks, Danilo
consistently
Gallinari.
really
Yeah.
good. Everywhere he is, he's consistently that second or third option and does it really well. Trae Young, obviously, is super fantastic. John Collins, Clint Capella, Bogdan. Like this, you look at both these rosters, man. Nerlens Noel had like one of his best defensive seasons ever. I don't know who's going to win it. If I had to pick my favorite, I'd pick the Knicks because I'm a Rose fan. Happy to see him back to where back and playing at a high caliber. So that would be my team. And obviously, as a Melo fan, as a former Knicks fan, because of it, I'd love to see the Knicks take it. But I think it's going Game 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's our East predictions. Let us know what you think. And now on to the West. We'll leave Jazz to see what happens a little bit later with Grizz versus
what our
Warriors.
update is there?
67-57 Grizzlies, 8 minutes into the third. So we've got 8 minutes
I
to
hope
go
the
into
Warriors
third.
don't lose, but at the same time, get on
Grizzlies
Memphis.
would be nice. Yeah, Grizzlies would be nice.
Jonas doesn't have such a good game that he was last time. Who's doing it? Jaren Jackson.
I was expecting a
10,
bigger game from him too.
Ja with 10, Dylan Brooks with 10, Warriors obviously got Steph with 19, so he's kind of leading, and then Wiggins with 11. And Draymond doing eight rebounds, 4 assists, 4 points, his typical all over the boards. So
yeah. So we can maybe leave that one to last and then go through the rest. So we've got Suns versus the Lakers, the 2 versus the 7 matchup.
First time, LeBron, Chris Paul in his 16th season, and LeBron is 18th, finally meeting up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this will be a really good, if you're a basketball nerd, watching this series will just get you so excited. You're going to see half court sets galore. You're going to see back screens. You're going to see bounce passes. You're going to see people arguing against the ref. But I got the Lakers taking this one in 6. LeBron, I think, upsets the Suns. LeBron, I'm going to keep betting on you. Luke, what are you thinking?
Yeah, you can't not bet on LeBron. I don't think. Like he just
Mm-mm.
proved it last night. Like super slow start. Honestly, garbage first half. It's like,
Mm.
LeBron's washed. Oh, here we go. It's just to start to see LeBron slowing down, and then he hits the biggest shot from like 5 feet out from the 3 point line with a defender in his face to basically take the lead. So his confidence alone, I think, will burst this team through. There's a lot of scariness of the Lakers. A slow start against a team like the Suns with a lot of power and ability to really get some buckets, and it's good, pretty strong defense. Um, part of me wants to root for the Suns, but you just can't gamble statistically against LeBron.
No, you really
Statistically,
can't.
he wins. So, yeah, I'll go with the Lakers, and you know what, I 6 or 7 that I don't know. I will say
Yeah.
I don't have an answer, but I do think this goes down to the wire, because the Suns are very deadly.
Yeah, I love me some Chris Paul. He's had an amazing season. It's hard to pick against LeBron. Lakers in
Yeah,
six.
I honestly I think the Suns. Part of me, my heart is saying the Suns take it, but again, statistically speaking, LeBron James doesn't lose, so you got to stick with the
Exactly right.
stats.
Exactly right. So then we've got Nuggets versus the Blazers. Your Portland Trail Blazers, your
And my
Cinderella
Nuggets.
story, and your Nuggets. Yeah, I guess your
I'm
Nuggets if we're talking Nikola Jokic.
this is this is a tough one for me because I'm a huge fan of both. Obviously, Nuggets. Again, started watching them when Melo went there. A huge fan of Nene and Kenyon Martin, the Thuggets as they used to be called. They were pretty gangster
Mm.
back in the day. And then now having Jamal Murray, Canadian baller. So I was always kind of cheering them on, seeing Nikola, a big man, do some crazy passes. But obviously, my love will go to the Blazers for this. I think without Jamal Murray, Damian Lillard is just going to have a heyday at the point. Like it's just he's their guy, and the Nuggets are going to have a hard matchup against him without Jamal Murray being in. So I would say I see our Blazers taking it in 6.
Okay, this is the first one we disagree. I've got Nuggets in seven.
Okay.
Yeah, Nuggets in seven. I think Jokic. They don't really have a matchup. Nurkic will play him, but Jokic was the MVP. We'll see what happens. This will be a really good series. I think both 3-6 matchups are the most entertaining probably in the series when it comes to East and West. So we'll see what happens. Uh,
Yeah, they do have Enos Cantor too, which is another body. They have Robert Covington that they can throw at him. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, they not that they throw him up, but like they have Zach Collins at the power forward position. They have some bigger bodies this year that they didn't last year, and everyone's healthy. Um, they have definitely the wrong picture for Norman Powell. They have Kent Bazemore on the Google right now. That's just the picture for him.
oh,
That is
that's
not correct.
amazing.
But yeah, I think the Blazers added some depth and are a scary team. I think Damian Lillard has proven over and over that he's a very good guy, and with the Nuggets being down Jamal Murray, if he keeps lighting it up and has great stretches, it's going to be tough to stop them. And yeah, I'm going to take the Blazers. Although you can't go against an MVP of the season either, but you could say the same for Giannis, and he's proven
Mhm.
over and over that as an MVP, that doesn't get you to the championship. So
That's right. That's right. Another MVP contender here. We got Luka Doncic versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers have home court advantage. What are you thinking about this series?
I was everyone's healthy, which is nice to see because last year they weren't. Porzingis obviously being out, and the Mavs still made a pretty big splash.
Uh-huh.
I think it's time for the young boys to step up. I think this is their time. I'm gonna take the Mavs in 7.
Mavs in seven. All right. So
I
winning
do
on
it.
the road in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Luca is he's taking a shining to me. I'm slowly, I learned the hard way through our game, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this is their time, man. They've pieced together a really good team. The Clippers have consistently been bad at finishing for a very long time, and that hasn't really changed. I don't think they did it. What did they do in the offseason to make any changes?
And they brought on Lou Will. They
Oh,
brought on Ibaka.
Louis
They
boy's
brought on
gone.
Ibaka. Oh, sorry. I mean, oh, who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of they brought in Rajan.
Yeah, they brought on Rajon Rondo, but the name is escaping me who they brought on. Um, They
Reggie
traded Lou
Jackson?
Will. Yeah, they traded Lou Will. Yeah,
Yeah.
Reggie
See,
Jackson. But he was there last season. Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard, that's who I'm thinking of. Luke Kennard.
yeah, you got Serge, DeMarcus Cousins, which he won't really be a factor at this point. But
No, I
Rajon,
don't
Paul
think so.
George, Kawhi. You know, I the only way I flip this around is as if Paul George has a resurgence year. If Paul George plays like he did last year, I have the Mavs winning it. If Paul George plays well, then
I've got Sixers and seven. Or sorry, Sixers and seven. I've got Clips and seven. Clips
yeah.
and seven. Yeah, going off the board, Sixers and
Well, you got
seven.
Rajon Rondo again, who's consistently
Mhm.
brought a winning atmosphere wherever he goes to a team in the playoffs. They have a pretty deep bench. The Mavericks not so deep.
I think
But
they've got a good matchups against Luca too, right? Like you put on Kawhi, you put on Paul George on him, you make him work on both ends, you put him in pick and roll. I can see that being really tough on Luca, and he's got a big load to carry for that team. But he is unbelievable. He's amazing. So I
yeah,
that's
it'd be
another toss
interesting.
up in me.
And
Yeah.
Porzingis is a very good player, and when healthy, and he has been this year. And they make a pretty scary duo. Um, we saw last year that Kawhi you, the Clippers have always put together a really good team, and they almost always have too much talent, and they almost always never show up because of it. It's
Mhm.
one of those things like you look at this team on paper just like you would have looked at the team on paper with Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan, and at the time they still had JJ Redick back then. They had who's the point guard there? Jamal Crawford. They had just everything, man. Like they were 8 or 9 deep, and they consistently didn't show up. And I just don't see how anything changed from this year to last year.
Are the Clippers cursed? That's not our take, but that's your opinion,
And
eh?
also Kawhi left us, so I hope he leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, Kawhi. No,
Because
no,
right now
no.
he'd be potentially looking at a back run to the playoffs last year, and a potential at least back in the eighth or seventh seed this year.
Hey, I think they'd be a lot better if they had Kawhi there. That's for
Oh, I
sure.
don't
But
think
that's a
they.
conversation
That's a.
for another day. I know we can cry about it in the off season when we've got nothing to talk about because we've
Yeah.
got one last playoff series to chat about.
Yep.
Jazz versus Grizzlies or Warriors. I guess the first question is who's winning this game? Grizzlies are up 12, 5 minutes to go in the third. Who are
Yeah,
you picking to win this game? And then what are you picking for the series here?
the Grizzlies are good, man. They were good last year. They're good this year. Andre Iguodala, I still don't know why you left. I think you're kind of silly and jumped ahead. I mean, I'd go play with the Heat too, but he was silly to say they weren't a good team because that's just not true.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that he didn't play all season and force their hands
Yeah,
to trade him because they were a playoff contender last year if he would have played,
one
in my
hundred
opinion.
percent. And again,
Yeah.
he obviously went to the Heat, and that was his decision, and good for him. The Heat have done well. It was just a weird way he did it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Steph's playing well. Draymond's playing well. They're obviously James Wiseman and being out, and Kelly Oubre being out, and Jordan Bell being out, and Klay Thompson being out. They're just a wounded dog again this year. So I
They're going
honestly,
to have a great next year, though, because they're getting that Minnesota pick. 75% chance they get that pick. Plus, they're going to get their pick. If they lose today, that could be another chance to go in the lottery.
yeah,
So,
it sucks, but I think the Grizzlies might actually take it, man. They're a pretty solid young team, and the Warriors are banged up again this year. Like, I mean, James Wiseman and Kelly Oubre and Klay Thompson, like that's their starting, three of their starters. Right?
yeah, that's exactly right.
James Wiseman, or he was kind of running 6 man and sometimes starting. He's a mix in
Yeah,
between.
yeah.
Klay Thompson is definitely a starter. Kelly Oubre Jr. is a starter. Like they're just yeah. Unfortunately, they're banged up again, and that seems to be the curse the last couple of years for Golden State.
Steph's already shot 21 times in this game. He is 8 for 21.
Yeah.
So he is shooting the ball. He's going to go down fighting, but I think the Grizz might win this game if the score holds up. So I would still have the Jazz winning against either team, to be honest.
Yeah. There's
I have the Jazz in 5 in either
yeah, in
situation.
either
I think they're
situation.
too good.
Yeah. Of
I
course,
think
and Golden State's too banged up if they do squeeze out. That Steph just can't do it all.
exactly right. They can throw enough bodies if they're the Jazz. You have a potential Hall of Fame player, defensive player of the year with Rudy Gobert in the middle. I mean, Frenchman can swat. Frenchman likes baguettes. He's got that reach. He's got that reach. He's going to swat. So I think Jazz are going to win in 5.
Yep.
Either way.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Alrighty,
That's
Phil.
our playoffs. That's our playoffs.
Yeah, we'll write these all down later, and we'll put them into a spreadsheet, and we'll see how they turn out at the end of the playoffs and see how they go. For our last part, we are going to jump into the hot take. Get some flames going here. A hot take, and Phil, our hot takes are going to be Phil's and Luke's winner for the NBA playoffs 2021. Phil, who you got?
There's 2 teams in New York.
New York.
I don't think it's going to be the Knickerbockers. So that leaves me with one team. That would be your Brooklyn, the borough in New York, Brooklyn Nets, making it to the finals and winning the NBA championship against the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron's going to make it all the way back there. Let's be honest. How many times has this guy made the finals? He's making it one more time. Doesn't matter who you put in front of him. He's there. I'm going Nets are winning in 5 games against the Lakers. KD's too good. He's beaten LeBron the last couple times there.
Yep. I am going to go with the Raptors.
Really off the board.
Really they're going to come out of nowhere. The 8th seed's everyone's going to catch Corona, and they'll be like, all right, the Raptors have to play.
I'd love to see those odds in Vegas. I think it'd probably be 1 out of 55 million.
Yeah, I'm looking at the teams, and I really don't have like a favorite. Like, I hope the Blazers win, but I don't think they have the ability to get all the way through. It's a lot of tough teams. I still personally don't believe the Net. I'm going to hold to this to the end of my day. If the Nets get down by 2 in any series, they will lose that series. I will hold to that. I will hold that till my grave.
We'll find out.
If they don't, they will win it all. But if they get down by 2 in any series, they will lose that series. You can mark my words. You can put it down in pen, write it down. You can quote it. Luke Jansen.
We're going to clip that, and we're going to put that when the Nets lose in 2 or when they win it. One or the other.
If the Nets go down 2, it's all over for them. From there, it's hard to say the Lakers are the sure favorites, other than LeBron has made it every time, because there's a lot of struggles with the Lakers this year.
There's a lot of good teams in the West as well. I'm facetious. Like, I think LeBron's really good.
I think the Nuggets would have been my favorite.
I agree.
Jamal
I honestly think
that wasn't injured.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets would have made the West Finals if they had Jamal Murray. I really do think that, honestly.
I agree.
But he's hurt.
So I do have to pick though. So I guess I mean, I kind of want it to be the Suns, but the Suns aren't going to get past the Lakers. So we are going to pick for the winners of the 2021 NBA playoffs. We're going to go a little bit out of the wild ball here. We're going to say the 76ers. We're throwing it.
I don't mind that pick.
Yeah, they're deep, man. Like, I'm looking at their team and I'm like, that's a scary team.
And you know what? The other big thing for them is they're going to play the Wizards, and then they play the winner of Knicks Hawks.
Yeah.
So that's a very tough, or not a tough way. I'd say that's a very easy way to get to the East Finals. And then you hope the Nets and the Bucks have a grueling 7-game series. They beat the hell out of each other, and then you just walk over them, right?
And Joel Embiid could have been the
MVP. I don't think that's a bad pick.
I mean, you got Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Dwight Howard, Tobias Harris, George Hill, Danny Green, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse, and then, a couple other people. Anthony Tolliver. That's funny that he's still in the league. But Gary Clark, really? That's funny. He's deep down the bench there too. But yeah, man, that's they got some gritty defenders off the bench, so you can throw them at other players, and if they get to a beat up Lakers team, it's at that point it's like, it's easy. Like, the 76ers will beat the Wizards. Like you said, they have a pretty easy lineup to the finals.
That's what I'm thinking too.
They have to, if they get by the Nets, I think the 76ers match up to the Lakers very well. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very well.
Agreed.
And, so yeah, that's my pick. 76ers or the Nets, but if the Nets get down by 2, it's all over.
Playoff previews. Playoffs are here. Let's get excited and watch some basketball for the next couple of weeks. I love it.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks everybody for stopping in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Shoot us who you think are, if the play-in tournament should stay or if it shouldn't, and also shoot us your winners for the NBA playoffs winners. We'd love to hear it.
Yes, sir.
We sign off and have a lovely week. We'll see you next week for episode 10.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Bye-bye.